All members are present. Please rise for the opening ceremonies. Let us pray. Lord of all creation, we seek blessings on the task before us. Bless our efforts with your clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, our decisions with impartiality. We pray these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Are there any amendments or corrections to the agenda? Seeing no amendments or corrections, the agenda is adopted as presented. Has everyone had a chance to look at the January 17th, 2024 meeting minutes?
Yes.
Are there any corrections or additions to the meeting minutes?
None.
Seeing none, the meeting minutes for the January 17th, 2024 regular board meeting are approved as written. Public comments? The public comments are 3 minutes, and they are for agenda items only. Do I have any public comments? Please state your name and address, and you're limited to 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. My name is Dawn Gray. I'm a legally qualified voter in Camden County, Georgia, with a protected address.
Okay.
Sir, this goes to the agenda item related to the cancellation of the regular meeting. I don't have the number, apologize. There's an issue with regards to the qualification ability of a certain organization within Camden County to qualify Republican candidates. So although it's not on the agenda, canceling the agenda, the regularly scheduled agenda, then does not allow for this issue to be resolved prior to qualification. May I speak on that now?
No, not right now.
Okay.
During additional public comments, you can.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? All right, without further ado, financial report. Perfect time.
Okay, did you all have a chance to look at your financial reports that were sent? Any questions?
No.
No.
We're still at a good number, but of course we haven't really paid any poll workers for elections yet. So that'll go away soon, but if there's no questions, that's all.
So the board have any questions at all for the December or January
No.
end of month? All right, moving on to the election supervisor update.
All right, board, good afternoon. We are going to start with an update from Dennis, who has probably 85% completed LNA. He's going to give you a little rundown of what he's been doing.
Okay. I appreciate y'all allowing me the time to speak to you about the logic and accuracy testing process and to address you with the advancements that we've made in that. So as you all know, we started a little while ago, I believe on Tuesday, the January 30th at 9 a.m. And in that time from now until today, February 15th, I have completed all 163 BMDs, 163 printers, and 14 scanners. All of those machines have been imaged and formatted with the given election for this upcoming March presidential preference primary. The printers have been tested to be able to print the ballots, and the scanners have tested not only themselves, but also the BMDs in their ability to accurately reflect the choices of any individual that votes at every single BMD. All of the candidates have been a part of that, all of the candidate choices have been a part of that process, and all of the choices for the special election, the question have also been a part of that process, including blank ballots. That has been all that's been completed up to this point. I am beginning work on the poll pads today. I intend to have that completed by the end of business tomorrow, at which point logic and accuracy testing for the March 12th presidential preference primary and special election will have been completed. So if any of y'all have any questions about that process, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Dennis.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Very nice, very nice.
Yes, thank you, Dennis. I mean, he has been in that warehouse working and busy, busy, busy. But the best news is he hasn't found any issues, hasn't had any problems, which is good. And we know that all of our equipment is working as it should be. So we've got the one more little piece of the puzzle we have to complete, but that should be done soon. So thank you for your hard work there. Did you
Thank you.
have visitors?
On the first day, I did have a couple of visitors. We had board members, former board members, and representatives from the Republican Party that all paid me a visit to check in on, what we're doing and have the process explained. So they're always welcome, and I'm always happy to have some company while I'm sitting there doing all that work.
And it is open to the public. You don't have to be a board member or party member.
Yeah, anyone, we do put a huge ad in the Tribune for that event, as is required by law. So we did have some takers on the first day, but then it's kind of boring after that. So, but I'm glad he had some visitors the first day. That's great. Thank you, Dennis, for your hard work there.
And thank you.
Yes, thank you.
To date, as of yesterday, and I'm going to let Leona or Rock answer this exactly numbers, but I know we've had just under 150 absentee ballots that have gone out, maybe one in the 130s. 130. So those are all the applications that we had received for absentee ballots for this election. They're still coming in, obviously, but the first day that we could mail out a ballot was on Monday, and we have started mailing out ballots. So what? Oh, and we got our first one back today, right? Yeah, today. All right.
And the last day to request an absentee ballot is the March 11th. Or excuse me. No, I'm wrong on that one.
No, March, I'm sorry, I'm drawing. a
No, I'll look at it and get it back. I'm sorry.
Okay, March
Did not
1st,
interact.
I think. Yeah, I think it's March 1st.
It is March 1st.
Okay.
You're correct, March 1st.
Let's see, what else did I have? Okay, we did receive, and I think you do have this in your, it was just on your desk. It wasn't in the initial packet that went out. I provided you with a letter that we received this morning from Cody Smith, who's a Republican candidate for Camden County Commission seat for District 3. So you all have that letter. I just wanted to make you aware of the situation. This is the first item I've gotten in writing from anyone regarding this topic, but there is some concern with Mr. Smith and two other individuals that have called me about allowing the local Republican Party that we have here in Camden County to do qualifying on March the 4th. So I wanted to make you all aware of that and let you know this was the first documented receipt of any kind of paperwork I received today. And I don't have any other information from the party or the state regarding the local board. So as of right now, they have provided the proper notice within the certain time frame they're supposed to. They've given me their designees for who will be here to do the qualifying. Qualifying is on March 4th, and it starts upstairs in the historic courtroom. I don't have a representative from the Democratic Party that's reached out yet, so I think I will be doing that qualifying if there are any Democrat candidates. And I will also be doing the nonpartisan. So other than that, I wanted you to be aware of the note, and if you have any questions, let me know. I do have a code as well. I don't think I included. I have the code actually. If you don't mind, Scott, I sent you 21-2-153. And I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of what the code says regarding qualifying. So I mean, I think everyone can read that. I did have a second slide. And that's a little bit smaller, but if a political party is not designated, so like the Democrats haven't designated anyone, 14 days prior to the beginning of the qualifying, a party official in the county with whom the candidates of such party for county elective offices shall qualify, then the election superintendent would do that qualifying.
So legally, you cannot qualify the Republican candidates.
Right, as far as I read it, no, I cannot qualify the Republicans that show up on March 4th because I have everything from the local party that was required. But I did want to make you all aware of that situation.
Thank you.
Make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Okay. Do you have it? Yeah. And then I did hear about this morning. I didn't hear about this last week when it came out, but I do have, someone told us about a video. We had a lot of questions about the ballot question that's on there about Freeport exemption. And when we initially got word of the question, and I spoke with Mr. Coughlin with the Joint Development Authority, I had said, be a really, really good idea if you all can put together some voter education on this topic so that the local public and those going out to vote will know what this question means. And they did just that. And it is on, I think, on their social media page for the Chamber of Commerce and for the Joint Development Authority. And it's also on YouTube. But Scott's going to play that for us so that we can all take a listen.
Allison Shores, Camden County Chamber of Commerce. And I kind of wanted to interrupt our regular programming of getting in your business because something's coming up on our March ballot that you're going to be voting for. And I'm not going to lie, the language on it's a little confusing. I was at least confused on something with tax exemption. So I thought it was a good time since February is early voting for us to bring in James Coughlin from the Joint Development Authority to kind of explain what we're going to see on this ballot. So James, thank you for being here and taking the time with me today. So tell us what we're going to see and tell us what it all means.
Thank you, Allison. I appreciate the opportunity. Whenever we have something that we think we need to get the word out about, I think to myself, where's the best place to go to get to the citizens? I know you've got a great platform, so thanks for letting me be here. So the item you're referring to is Freeport tax exemption level 4. I know, exactly. It's a lot of words. The actual item on the ballot is kind of a confusing collection of words. What it really is, Freeport exemption refers to inventory that's held at distribution centers. In this instance, it would be the distribution centers that people are ordering things similar to Amazon, not necessarily Amazon, but that's a good example.
I've never heard of Amazon.
I know, everybody.
Shop local.
Exactly. Everybody in Camden County shops local, but you can imagine there are some places where people order things offline. Item comes into that warehouse after someone has ordered it on their phone or on their computer or whatever. It's held there temporarily and then it is shipped out to their home or their business or whatever. That item is technically inventory in that warehouse. But we don't want them to be taxed on that as inventory the way they normally would for other types of equipment. Businesses are taxed on their inventory. We don't want to tax a distribution center on something just flowing through there.
Gotcha.
So it gives them a break on that. It encourages distribution centers like the one that are currently being planned for Exit 7, the Gateway Logistics Center. It makes it easier to recruit those kinds of businesses. So if those of you that drive north up 95 to I-16 around Savannah, you'll see all these distribution centers there that have located there. Those counties have passed this Freeport exemption.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's just a way of creating business. And the nice thing about it is this isn't anything that comes out of our current tax digest. It doesn't in any way negatively affect our taxpayers. It's not an additional burden on them.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
How does this really affect we Camden County
Like,
taxpayers?
it honestly doesn't, because this isn't money that we currently have,
Okay,
right? These centers don't exist in Camden County, so it's not like we're giving up something we already have. And it's not anything that has to be made up on the back
Gotcha.
of the taxpayer. It really is just a way to attract business, create good jobs. And those are really the best type of incentives to attract business. Those that don't cost our taxpayers anything, but help bring good jobs to the area.
absolutely. So thank you so much, James, for joining me. I feel like you've given us now I feel to understand, so I
Thank you.
appreciate you. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to contact the Camden County Joint Development Authority. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and share.
Thank you.
Okay, what y'all think about that?
Helpful.
That was super
Helpful.
helpful, right?
Not for or against it, but
Right, not for or against it, kind of tells you the basis of the question. I mean, I had two volunteers in our office yesterday who have been longtime teachers in the community and are now and have been retired for several years. And they're like, Shannon, we thought we were, we could decently comprehend a question like this, but can you help us out? So it just goes to show you, I think, that this is a question that obviously wasn't written by us. It came from the Joint Development Authority. It is important, and the county already has the first 3 Freeport exemptions, but we need to understand what it's about. So if you or others that might not know or understand it, if you can share the words, find the video on YouTube, find it on the Chamber's social media page, or the joint development page, I think that would be super helpful in getting the word out. I also wanted to remind everyone that we start early voting on Monday. Monday is technically a holiday. The county offices are closed, not us, and we will be down at the annex. And the reason for that, as Kyle figured out, the state recognizes President's Day in December, so they have a little extra day of buffer for their holiday season. So they don't recognize that holiday on Monday. And because they don't recognize it, we cannot recognize it, and we must start voting on the 19th. So 8 a.m. at the annex, we'll be there 8 a.m. to 5. We have had a great response from staff that have been assigned to the polling locations for the next upcoming 3 weeks and on Saturdays, which is good. And we're excited to get off the election season. So we'll be there Monday through Saturday next week, the annex. Of course, we're there for 3 weeks, but we start advance voting Monday through Saturday there. We do have a digital display board that was graciously put up by the emergency management office. It'll start ticking on 6:30 on Monday morning. Didn't want it to go a little early because people would be driving around looking for voting, and it's not open till 8. So it's parked in front of, on Highway 40 in front of the annex building, and it'll have a message on there about early voting. Of course, we have 2 weeks of early voting here. That starts February 26th downstairs in my office, and also 2 weeks of advanced voting in St. Mary's. That will start February 26th as well at the St. Mary's Welcome Center. So spread the word on that. I think, and lastly, I just wanted to recommend to the board that so I recently attended our own leadership team meeting, and it was kind of like a retreat, or not a retreat, I shouldn't use that word, a strategic planning session that we did. It was just, it was for a couple of days, I believe. It was facilitated by a member of the University of Georgia's extension program, I believe is what it's called. I'm not positive, but I do have a contact name. I like that setup because leadership were able to talk with commissioners. It was pretty open, and I think that'd be a good idea for our board as well as our staff. And I just wanted to throw that idea out there as something that we could adopt. And I could be working on a schedule for that, for maybe a day-long session coming up in March after we get through the PPP. We've never done that as a board. We've had one strategic planning session, I think, but for us to meet as a whole and have a meeting of that for a day long to go over a various agenda of items, I think would be helpful. Anything from like Robert's Rules of Order to board organization to new member orientation, things that we haven't been doing. I think it would be beneficial and helpful to all of us if we did that and included staff in that as well, and just had some open communication. I'm not sure, like I said, exactly what the date is or what we're going to call it yet, but I hope that you're all open to that. I'm going to be working on setting that up for March sometime. So maybe probably late March. Okay. Do y'all have any, does that sound good?
That sounds great. Thank you, Shannon.
Miss Clara, you think that's
good.
okay? All right.
We need something. Yep.
All right. Great. Thank you. I think that's all I have, board members. Thank you.
All right, I went over the public notice you put out on advanced voting, and it is, the deadline to submit an absentee by mail ballot application for the PPP is Friday, March 1st, just like you said. Just want to make that clear for the record. All right, moving on to new business, discussion of student teen election participant program.
Yes, so in your packet or in your book, I think Leona put in your book, something called an agenda summary. And behind that, you'll find a permit, right, Leona? It's in their book where you got it. Okay. So Leona, where is it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can y'all tell Barbara where it is?
Right behind your financials.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Right down the financials.
Okay, so I want to talk briefly about the STEP program, which is the Student Teen Election Participant Program. Back in December, I think it was in December, I was not here that day, but the board met and talked about this program and moving forward with it to work with somebody from the school system so that maybe we could implement it for this year since it is quite a busy year. And I believe at that meeting, it was decided that one of our newer board members who's got an education background, Julie McCullough, would deal with that. And she did, and she wants to share some exciting news about the STEP program with Camden County High School. Just a little bit about what you're reading.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
We were gonna go.
Oh, yeah.
Go on to the next slide, I think. Yeah, the next one. Keep going. There we go. The pros right there. Thank you so much. The agenda item G1 is for us to just look at the student teen election participant program. Say that 3 times. I know we have a lot of new faces in the room today, so I just wanted to go over it briefly. Some of the big components is that the Board of Elections has got to have some mutually agreed upon rules, regulations, and policies on our behalf, Shannon's office, and the school district. And there is a form that we have access to, and I'm sure, I don't know if it's there for the public, but
It's
it
not
kind of,
for the public, but I can get it to.
okay. And it outlines the criteria, and I met with Superintendent Trocoya Green, and she had great ideas about the program being implemented. And, you know, if anything's ever going to be successful, you have to have the school people on board. And she had the great idea that we would use the students' curriculum in the advanced placement American government classes. Yep. And their curriculum aligns with ideas like this perfectly. So the next meeting that we went to was with Mr. Chastain at the high school and Miss Adina Bice at the high school. And they had some additional things to add into it. And so we came up with the agreement. That's part of the code says that there has to be an agreement. And we came up with a full agreement of criteria for those students. And then there also had to be a parent participation letter that said the parents agreed that their students could actually be a part of the elections and go to the elections and work the elections in a volunteer atmosphere. So some of the pros that what we walk away with, we get that younger generation involved in the elections. And we increase the future pool of poll workers, something Shannon and her office is always working on. We get the community involved with the election board and the Board of Education. It's a great mentoring opportunity. Any of these poll workers and the clerks and the the people that are in charge of each of the polling situations, it's a great chance for them to mentor these young people. And then on the flip side, what's good for the kids, they get a great bullet point for their college applications when they get the chance to see that community service in place. They also receive credit for a full day at school. It's limited to 2 days, so it's not a process where they would be gone for a week or two with early voting situations. So it's limited for 2 days. I think everything that I received from everybody was just very positive, and they were very excited to get it. And then, you know, when you have a contact at the school, the actual teacher who's going to implement it in her classroom, that was key. And so she was very excited. She attended one of our trainings, so she had an understanding of what her students were going to be doing and that type of thing. So I think at this time, I would like to make a motion to consider approving the Student Teen Election Participant Program, which is the code 21-2-92 between Camden County Schools and the Board of Elections and Registration. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Great. I'm super excited about this program.
Yes.
Not only did Miss Bice come, who used to teach one of my kids in high school, but she brought 2 students with her for a morning training session. So she stayed the entire time and did a poll worker training with us. Technically, she could come work the polls if she wanted to. But the 2 young ladies came with her, and they were excited about the opportunity. And I think as we develop more with our programming and meeting with students, we can get additional ones to come out. And like Dr. McCullough said, they can only do it for like 2 days, but they get credit for school. They don't get docked anything for missing school. And we hope to utilize the Public Service Authority location, the East Kingsland precinct, since it is closest to the high school. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for all your work on that.
Yes,
Thank you. You're welcome. Shannon, one of the things that I loved is that when you started talking to the poll workers during the training and the money came up, the kids' eyes lit up. And while it's a volunteer effort for them at the high school and they can earn community service hours and things like that, they love the idea that in a year or 2 that they could become one of those folks sitting in that room. So
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks. All right,
Excellent.
good deal.
All right, moving on to item 2, consideration of a memorandum of agreement between the Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission and the election superintendent of Camden County. And there's also a agenda summary for this item. And you'll go.
Okay, so this happens every couple of years. We get an envelope from the Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission. And it's very clear that they'll have an open position. It's called a Soil and Water Conservation District Supervisor for our area. Okay, it's a item that would be only on the November 5th ballot. So it has to go on a general election ballot. But how they get individuals on the ballot in November is they have to qualify in March. That's why they have sent us an agreement to sign off on that we will qualify anyone that comes to the office that's interested in this position. Excuse me, between March 4th and 8th, there's no qualifying fee for these individuals. The key here is that anyone that is interested in this position has to go out in the community and get at a minimum 25 signatures from county voters in Camden County here. They send, and I have already provided to somebody a double-sided sheet of where they can get candidate or individuals to sign their petition, basically. They print their name, sign their name, date of birth, address, stuff like that on the petition. So the individual usually has to go door to door or to all their friends. And we try to make it clear that you need 25 signatures, but you should get a bunch. And make sure that it's legible signatures and it's people you know that are voting. So I try to just encourage that. Like I said, I've already handed out 1 packet for this. I did so a couple of years ago as well. And the young lady that was filling out the petition for that, got a bunch of her her coworkers to fill out the application, and unfortunately, a lot of them weren't registered. They weren't registered in Camden, or they just weren't registered, period. So, and she only got like 28 signatures. So unfortunately, she wasn't able to be added to the ballot. But what we would like to see is that you all approve this item. There is a short memorandum of agreement to sign. Doesn't really cost us anything. They put an advertisement in the newspaper. It's just another line item that has to be on the ballot in November, if there are candidates that qualify. So there's a motion. I believe if you don't have any other questions on the agenda summary form that you could utilize, but it just requires signatures from the superintendent.
Is there a motion to approve this item?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. This will get mailed out to them tomorrow.
Excellent. I think it's due tomorrow. All right, moving on to item 3, consideration to cancel the February 21st, 2024 regular board meeting. Is there any discussion? A motion?
I think because, earlier, the comment was, they were concerned about us canceling that, in lieu of, I guess, this letter that we have received, and whether or not, if we cancel that, we would have time to really, make a decision on this. So, I'm gonna say, I move that we don't unless we find a resolution to the question.
Okay, do I have a second? I'll second it just for discussion purposes. We can cancel this meeting, and I can always call a special call. It takes 24 hours for me to do a special call meeting if something comes to light in between now and then. I don't want to put it on a placeholder if we don't have to, if there's no other business going on. And this may or may not be resolved by the 21st.
So Kyle, say that one more time. You can,
I can call a special call meeting within 24 hours,
just like today's. was.
just like today's. So if they have a resolution before March 4th
Okay.
to this problem, we can call a special call meeting and
Okay.
get it resolved.
Okay.
Because there's no clear path that it's going to be resolved by the 21st.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that we didn't block over that. Absolutely.
All right, so there was a motion on the floor to not cancel the 21st. It's been seconded. All those in favor of not canceling the February 21st, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
I oppose.
All right. Motion fails. All right, do I have a motion to cancel the February 21st, 2024 regular board meeting? Is
I'll make a motion. Cancel.
there a second?
All right.
Okay, I have a motion to cancel the 21st, 2024 regular meeting. It's been seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of canceling the February 21st, 2024 regular board meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, moving on to Board of Election and Registration Training. I get to talk to y'all again. Today, we're going to go over early processing of absentee ballots as soon as it comes up. And our reference is the SEB rule, that State Election Board Rule 183-1-14-.14. There's also a Georgia election code that goes along with this, but this is the main driver for mail-in absentee ballot early processing. Next slide. I don't have the clicker. All right, timeline for early processing of mail-in absentee ballots. There has to be a public notice for processing and scanning. At least 7 days prior to the beginning of absentee ballot processing and scanning, the election superintendent shall give the public proper notice of such processing and scanning by, number one, providing written notice to the Secretary of State or designee in a manner prescribed by the Secretary of State. They actually have a website that Shannon goes to, puts all the information in. She's also required to publish a notice on the homepage of the county's publicly accessible website associated with elections and/or registrations. And she's also required to post the notice in prominent locations in the election superintendent office. And proper public notice shall include dates, start times, end times, location, or location where absentee ballots will be processed and scanned, and that such processing and scanning shall be open to the view of the public. That's very important. Next slide. Beginning at 8 a.m. on the third Monday prior to the day of the primary election or runoff, the election superintendent shall be authorized to open the outer oath envelope of absentee ballots, and then have been verified and accepted pursuant of the code, to remove the contents of such outer envelope, open the inner envelope marked official absentee ballot, and scan the absentee ballots using one or more scanners. Ballot secrecy during early processing is paramount. All cell phones, laptops, audio or video recording devices, and other communication devices shall be prohibited at all times. No person shall tally, tabulate, estimate, or attempt to tally, tabulate, or estimate. That is considered a felon. Next. Who can touch the ballots and who must be present during the processing? While absentee ballot processing and scanning shall be open to view of the public and monitors designated by political parties and candidates, no person except one's employed and designated by the election superintendent shall touch any ballot or ballot container. Any person involved in processing and scanning absentee ballot shall swear an oath, and the oath is provided in the election code. At least 3 persons who are registrars, deputy registrars, poll workers, or absentee ballot clerks shall be present at all times while the absentee ballot envelopes are being opened and the absentee ballots are being scanned. Outer envelopes shall be opened in such a manner as to not destroy the voter oath signature, the voter identification information, and if applicable, the signature and oath of a person assisting the voter. Next. Reconciliation. Prior to opening the outer envelope of a batch, which is 100 ballots or less, all envelopes shall be counted, and the outer envelopes in the batch shall be counted and recorded on the reconciliation form. Upon opening the outer envelopes of the batch, the contents shall be removed in a manner that ensures the contents of the envelope cannot be matched back to the outer envelope to ensure the elector's constitutional right to a secret ballot. Once all outer envelopes have been opened and contents removed, the inner envelopes shall be opened and the absentee ballots removed. So the way we do this process, we open the outer envelope, get them all open, get the inner envelopes all out. We take the outer envelopes, we remove them from the room. That way they're not together. And then we shuffle all of the inner envelopes so we can't tell whose ballot is whose, just for secrecy portion. Once all the ballots have been removed, the number of ballots shall be counted and recorded on the reconciliation form and compared to the original count. They must match. If they do not match, we have to investigate why they do not match and make a determination, and that determination will be placed on the reconciliation form. The absentee ballot shall be then scanned on the ballot scanner. A batch number assigned by the ballot scanner shall be recorded on the reconciliation form for that batch. Next. Successfully scanned ballots shall be bound together with a photocopy of the reconciliation form, and the original official who scanned the ballots shall notate on the reconciliation form that the batch has been scanned, including the date and location of the scanning, and initial the notation. The scanned absentee ballot shall be placed in a secured container. More than one batch of scanned absentee ballots may be placed in the same container, but the individual batches must be separately bound. A security seal that contains the identification number shall be placed on the container. The batch numbers, the number of scanned absentee ballots in each batch, and the security seal shall be recorded on the container. All right, next. Completed original copies of the reconciliation form shall be retained by the election superintendent for 2 years in our office. All right, prompt scanning of absentee ballots. The election superintendent shall ensure that all ballots shall be scanned, reconciled, and securely stored on the same workday in which the outer envelope was opened. Once the process starts, It cannot finish until the ballots are securely secured in a container. Next. Any ballot that is torn, talks about that. We have a duplicate team, and this talks about that. Next. Vote review panel. Once a ballot is duplicated, a vote review panel will actually look at the ballot, and any other ones that will not scan, they will look at those. Talks about that. All right, summary. All ballots shall be scanned on the same workday they are open. All facets must be performed in public. Ballot secrecy is paramount. No cell phones, laptops, or recording devices. At least 3 persons who are registers, deputy registers, poll workers, absentee ballot clerks shall be present at all times. Outer envelopes must be counted, recorded on, and the number recorded on the reconciliation sheet. Ballots must be counted and record the number on the reconciliation sheet. This number should match. And of course, the photocopy of the reconciliation sheet. Next. Any questions? Pretty straightforward process. It's not something we have done. Not something we have done since 2023 March. So and they've changed the rules a little bit on the SEB. Now I will take questions from the public if you have anything. Are you good? All right. Anyone else have any questions? Any board members, staff? No. All right. I believe that is it for training. Thank you. Thank you for putting up with me for one more time. All right, important upcoming dates. President's Day is Monday, February 19th, 2024. All county offices will be closed with the exception of elections, as Shannon pointed out. Advanced voting begins at the annex on February 19th. Board meeting has been canceled for February 21st. Saturday advanced voting at the annex is February 24th and March 2nd. Last day to request an absentee ballot by mail. You think I would have saw that on there? March 1st, The PPP is Tuesday. That's the presidential preference primary. Is Tuesday, March 12th, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Board meeting is Monday, March 18th. That's to certify the election. That's at 10 a.m. And then Good Friday is Friday, March 29th, 2024. And that's it for the important dates. Additional public comments? Please step up to the podium, state your name, address. You're limited to 3 minutes.
Mary Beckman, District 3. I noticed on your going through the slides, you made a slip and said the election superintendent will store the ballots in her office instead of in their office. And I think this is important because there's a lot of talk going around about the election supervisor being the one who qualifies these people. It is not the election supervisor. It is the election supervisor as the representative of the election superintendent. And we really need to make sure this, I mean, we don't want you to run into the same issue that had you coming back 2 or 3 times to resolve this problem when the clerk of the Superior Court made that mistake. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good afternoon. Again, Dawn Gray, qualified voter in Camden County with a protected address. The Camden County Supervisor of Elections, it appears, has made a special declaration that a private nonprofit corporation with an authoritarian model of organization is the entity operating in complete control and jurisdiction of affairs related to Republicans in Camden County, which appears to be blatant and damaging violative action directly contrary to the Georgia Code Title 21, Chapter 2, Article 3 compliance, which is mandatory in order for this party to have candidates on the ballots in accord with Georgia Code 21-2, 110F and Georgia Code 21-2, 154A. The Camden County Republican Party Incorporated is a member prohibitive entity, contrary to the Georgia Code 21-2-111, which sets forth a representative committee-based structure for official lawful political organizations here in the state. As the election board should be aware, Georgia law recognizes only proper political parties and political bodies. to have the authority to conduct election duties and responsibilities impacting the access to the rightful Title I lawful elective franchise and the right to hold office of citizens within the state of Georgia. Further, Rule 9.8 of the Georgia Republican Party states, a certified copy of the current county rules shall be filed in accordance with the Georgia Election Code within 30 days after the adjournment of a county convention with the elected election superintendent of the county. This did not happen. Perhaps this is because Rachel Baldwin, CEO of the Camden County Republican Party, Inc., asserts the corporation held the convention, not a political party or a committee. Regardless, this rule did not and has not occurred. Because the CEO of the corporation, Rachel Baldwin, has acknowledged that the body is not operating properly and has asserted at the county convention held that we believe to be true and authentic at the convention at the time. However, she has failed to correct this in accordance with both federal and state laws. Instead, documentation has been presented to the Camden County Elections Office claiming that the corporation would not be the governing body of Republicans. However, Ms. Baldwin has failed to dissolve the corporation, although she filed an intent to dissolve the corporation on 1/29/2024 and attested that she had submitted the same to the legal organ of the county. On 2/1/2024, Ms. Baldwin acknowledged that the certification was false, as that she had not filed an intent to dissolve with the newspaper. And at that same meeting, a motion was made to undo the dissolution motion. Since that time, 2 newspapers have been published, which appear to affirm Ms. Baldwin improperly filing the document to the Secretary of State's office. To allow a corporation registered with Secretary of State's office as having no members and therefore clearly not the county committee of the Republican Party subjects Republican candidates to disqualification and removal from the ballot and the supervisor of elections to possible misdemeanor criminal charges under Title 21 and color of law with significantly steeper penalties. I pray that this body qualifies those individuals who request to be on the ballot as Republicans, as in the case of our nearby Long County and other counties across the state, to ensure fair and legal elections in accordance with the law. If you look to Gwinnett County, with regards to whether or not the Camden County Republican Party Incorporated is truly a committee, you will see that it dissolved, it changed its name, and became a different nonprofit corporation. Also, if you look at the website, it says that individuals will be making their payments for qualifying fees to the Camden County Republican Party. On that same website, their privacy policy says that the Camden County Georgia Republican Party, Inc. is the members that are responsible for that website. So as I'm sure that you are aware, corporations in the state of Georgia that are created under Title 14 are not legally authorized to qualify candidates as is asserted under Title 21. I pray that that's all. I think that that's significant. If you look to what has happened in McIntosh County was another county that erroneously created a corporation. What they have done is they have dissolved that corporation and have become a committee again with their superintendent. However, we don't have legal rules that are filed. The rules that have been filed state that the corporation will be dissolved, which hasn't happened. I recognize that in 2022, there were no rules filed by the body that qualified candidates. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please state your name, address.
Rachel Baldwin, Camden County Republican Party Chair. This has been an ongoing issue since February. This was brought up at our convention, a motion to dissolve the party because members were not aware that we were in disorder, or if we were in disorder. That motion did not pass. We went through a process of trying to determine what the appropriate thing would be to do. So we've been on this issue for a little over a year now, trying to get answers. We have information from the Georgia Republican Party that whatever the official county party entity status, whether it's a corporation or a committee, you're able to qualify the candidate for the local Republican Party so long as that party is the recognized Republican county of the Georgia Republican Party. And so we have worked diligently to follow what we understood. It's a very complicated process. I'm not a lawyer. We work as volunteers. There's nobody in our county, nobody in our organization that gets paid. Monies that are raised in the party, whether it's through qualifying or fundraising, are spent on promoting the next elections. We do not promote candidates in a primary when there are 2 Republicans opposed. We do promote candidates once we get to the general election after the primary. But we have had a bylaws committee on this, trying to get resolution. I have talked to attorneys. For the most part, they are unaware that there may be a discrepancy between federal election law, Georgia incorporation law, federal incorporation law. But with what I just shared with you, with what the state party leadership has shared with me, they recognize us as the qualifying Republican Party entity for Camden County. They give us the qualifying forms. They give us all forms related to what we work with voters. We use their forms. We don't use other forms. Those forms that are used to qualify are developed with the Secretary of State. We use references to all the Secretary of State documents. And I can simply tell you that, yes, I did file an intent to dissolve because we got to the point where we could not conduct business in a business meeting and move forward. Ms. Gray did file a name reservation in August that expired in September. I don't know what that was about, but there's obviously a conflict at our party level. When I look up counties, Republican counties in Georgia that are incorporated, there are 45 Republican counties in Georgia that are incorporated as a domestic nonprofit.
About 30 seconds.
There are 5 Democrat counties incorporated in Georgia, and both the state Democrat Party and the Georgia Republican state parties are incorporated. And so I think there's a fine distinction that has to be clarified at a level much higher than us, perhaps legislatively, to get to the bottom of the solution. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
I forgot to go over the law enforcement quick reference guide I gave to everyone prior to the meeting. And forgot to mention also that myself, Rock, and our sheriff's deputy from Camden County Sheriff's Office, as well as our emergency management director, attended a tabletop exercise in Lowndes County with election officials and law enforcement officials. And it was very productive meeting. We learned a lot, and this is the guide that I provided you is technically, it's a pocket guide that we can give out to law enforcement officials that they can carry with them during the early voting advance period as well as election day. And it specifically deals with laws related to interfering with any kind of election, interfering with the poll worker, and then what can happen, what's a misdemeanor, what's a felony that can occur. So it was very informative. I've ordered a bunch of the small pocket guides for our deputies and city police officers in our area to have. So as soon as I get those in, we will provide them to the local law enforcement officers. We also had a nice meeting with our local sheriff's office, City of Kingsland Police Office, as well as City of St. Mary's recently to discuss our election, what could be election concerns for the upcoming year, made sure they had all the dates, locations of our polling locations. So I feel confident they'll take good care of us. I wanted you all to see these because it's very plain and simple language. And I think it's very important that we all have this. And Miss Brenda over there, our deputy with the sheriff's office, I'm gonna make sure you have one of these too, because we hold elections downstairs. So that's it.
Because while we're doing absentee ballots downstairs, we are considered a polling location, correct?
Right, and I don't think we're actually gonna do the absentee ballots downstairs. We'll probably end up moving that up into a larger space.
150-foot rule applies.
Correct, 150-foot rule applies, no campaigning. We'll have signs out for that, as well as for early vote.
Anything else from the board? Staff? Public? All right, if there are no objections, this meeting will adjourn. This meeting is adjourned.